Commission meeting for June 17th. I am Shelton Jaman, Chair of the Honorable Ethics Commission. For all commissioners that are attending remotely, please remain visible on the screen. If the visual connection is lost for an extended period and we lose quorum, we will call a recess until the connection and the quorum can be reestablished. For the record, before I begin, Commissioner Rice, you're attending remotely, and just are you by yourself in your quarters, wherever it is?
Yes, I am.
Good, and you can hear us fine.
Yes, I can.
Thank you. Are you back from Washington yet?
No, I've left Washington. I'm now in Minneapolis where it's quite cold.
Okay. Oh,
Cargo, a hoodie, this.
Not cold here.
oh my goodness. Okay, well, you take care of yourself, please.
I will, thank you.
I'd like to take a record for take a roll call of commissioners present to establish a quorum, starting with Commissioner Fukunaga.
I'm here.
Cynthia Lynch present.
Yes. Commissioner White,
Barry White, present.
Commissioner Martell,
Linda Martell present.
Commissioner Rice,
Tadia Rice, present.
and Shelton Jaman, Chair President. So we have quorum, although Vice Chair Monk is on his way, we can start the meeting. And the meeting is called to order now at 11:32. Before we get started, are there any members of the public present who wish to identify themselves and address any agenda item before we start? None? Well,
Chair, we have someone here. Should I,
yes.
is this the right time?
Yes, it's the right time. I wanted to ask members of the public and then introduce you.
Oh.
Okay. I'd like to introduce our new prospective EDLC, Sandy Ma, which can sit right over here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sandy Ma, and thank you for having me here today. I'm so humbled and honored and really excited to be the next incoming executive director and legal counsel for this Ethics Commission. I want to sincerely thank this Ethics Commission for giving me the opportunity of a lifetime for this position. And really, I want to thank the amazing staff for continuing the smooth operations of this Ethics Commission while the search was ongoing. And I cannot say enough about the amazing work the staff has done, and really the incomparable Almira Sang for leading this group. So kudos to the staff, and really kudos to Almira Sang. And I look forward to working with you all when I start on July 1st. And I have said this to everyone and anyone who will listen to me, that ethics, the work that is being done by the commission is the cornerstone to creating and maintaining public trust in our public institutions, in our form of government, in our representative democracy. And so the work you do here, the work that we will all be doing is invaluable and is not recognized enough. And so thank you all. And I look forward to working alongside you for greater transparency, for greater accountability, and to restore and to advance integrity and respect for the rule of law. And so thank you all again. And I'm so humbled and honored to be stepping into this role with these amazing people. And I just hope I could keep up. And thank you. Thank you again.
Before we go on, I'm just going to give a little brief background for the record. I'll do this as a supplement. Sandy has been an attorney a practicing attorney for way over 30 years. She's worked for various private, public, and governmental organizations and agencies during that time. Her interaction with the Ethics Commission began with, from what I can recall, when she was executive director of Common Cause for at least 3 years. I remember her testifying as a director for Common Cause, and she has been a consultant for ethics and governmental good government, social justice, elections and voting, and campaign reform. since 2022. And currently, she is the administrator and staff attorney attached to the DCCA, State Certified Arbitration Program. And will be joining us in less than 2 weeks. Any commissioners have any questions? Thank you very much. She must go back to her day job. Thank you very much. Sandy.
Thank
So
you.
good to see you.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And if you need a parking validation, please get that.
Oh, no, Costco.
Yeah.
Oh, cost.
We did let her know, so
Oh, okay.
the next time she will be able to.
I-
park it.
I am a Costco member, so.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Street.
Oh,
Yeah, that street is scary.
Yeah.
All right, moving on.
Here he is.
Good morning.
And let the record reflect, Vice Chair Monk has arrived. Are there any announcements, correspondence, or additional distributions that need to be made before I start? There being none,
There was the one additional distribution, from Commissioner Fukunaga's IT report.
right, and
It's also posted on-
Commissioner Fukunaga will discuss that on when the agenda comes up to discuss the AI issue. I'd like to move on for action of the approval of the open session meetings for April 2026. Have all of you had a chance to review the minutes for that session? If so, do I have a motion to approve the minutes, the board minutes for April 2026?
So moved.
Second.
It has been moved by Commissioner Martell to approve those board minutes and seconded by Commissioner White. All those in favor of approving the minutes for April 2026? Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Tadia? Oh, I see your hand up. It's been unanimously approved. Thank you. Let's see. The next item on the agenda will concern, yes. Okay, the chair's report
Yeah.
on artificial intelligence. And to that, I'd like to defer to Commissioner Fukunaga, who conducted tremendous research on the IT project in terms of contacting Montana, which is in a full utilization mode of that AI, and has recommendations, and he's been analyzing our system, Malima, and he has recommendations. So with that report, that great report, it's a good report. So would you like to kind of summarize it?
Yeah, let me just hit the high points.
Sure.
There's a lot of technical details. So the Montana Commission on campaign spending and ethics, that's one commissioner who is appointed and paid. And he has a staff of about 7 people maybe, and a budget of about 1.9 million, which is a little more than ours. So with that in mind, he, and this is through the chairman's contacts at Kogo, he talked to these people at Kogo. They contracted with a vendor in Montana and set up a IT system because they have 50 years of archived campaign contribution and ethics opinions and complaints and so forth. Our database, our archive apparently cuts off in 2010. So just like a person with dementia, we have no memory beyond 2010 on paper because it doesn't exist. So you can't go back like Montana can go back. So which makes it actually easier to implement something here. Because when you, and the technical term is ingest, when you ingest data into a database, you know, like you have a hot dog, the more data you have, the more complex the issue. So we don't have that much data, it turns out. And I don't know why that is, you know, you can ask if you want, but that makes it simpler. The problem with the Montana database and ours is they're not the same type of database. So in the database where, this goes back to my graduate school days, when we use relational databases, which like Oracle, for example. So the city IT here implemented what's called the NoSQL. SQL is SQL, stands for Structured Query Language. That has been historically the technical description of a database like Oracle, SQL. So their IT here has decided to use what's called a NoSQL database, which is which uses a record identification of about 16 digits long, instead of a tabular format like Excel, which Oracle uses. So there's a technical issue that we discuss with CIT if we go further on this project. And it could be that for technical reasons, we stick with the system in Hawaii. Principally because when I asked questions that Alvaro sent to IT, somebody sent to IT, the answers came back somewhat confused because I was using terms for a relational database and they were using it for a NoSQL database. So I think that shows you it's going to take some effort. But the point of doing this would be to take, so a lot of the data, most of the file data of the commission is on what's called the E drive. It's a drive on a server somewhere in the city. And currently the staff uses fairly primitive search techniques to search, you know, like when you're in Microsoft Word and you want to find a letter and you know some keywords and you put in the keywords. So that is not what is done currently in using natural language processing, which Westlaw and Lexis and stuff like this. You just type in a query, question, using whatever words you want to use. And this is like the prompt you use with Gen AI programs like ChatGPT. Just type something in. That's natural language. You're not constrained by the logic and what's called a Boolean search, which is a logical search in which you use and, or, quotation marks. So the natural language processing is what Montana uses. So the examples I gave, one of the examples he gave me on the phone, the commissioner, is if I want to know in 2019 which candidate had the most contributions of anyone running for office, I type that in, and then within about 2 seconds, there's an answer with a listing of all the contributions and how much per person. Instead of spending hours, you know, going through paperwork like this, well, did I see that before? So it shows you what can be done if we can get over this technical issue of the different databases. For the vendor I talked to is also in Montana, and he uses a variation of a relational database called Postgres. Postgres is one of the most complex databases around. But that's what he implemented in Montana. And I think you got an estimate of cost, right?
Yes, about $25,000 to $30,000. That's a rough estimate.
Which is kind of astonishing when you think what the state spent on the health insurance website, you know, that never worked.
Yeah.
Okay, they spent like $200 million on that site. And it's like taking that in a basket and burning it, because there is no insurance website currently,
Yes,
right?
yes, no,
So although the money doesn't look that much, if that's what it takes to get implementation of an actual language query, and basically a prompting system, and you can run it as if you're talking to ChatGPT, but internally, so it's secure. So that would be, I mean, there are more details if you want to hear all the other details, but I don't think you do. So let me just skip to the end, which is, my recommendation would be now for me to contact the city IT with staff and get into the very technical issues about, can the city's IT database, which is called MongoDB. Mongo comes from the word humongous. So it's called MongoDB, and it's a very common NoSQL database used throughout the world. Amazon, for example, uses a variation for its billions of orders that come in. So the database size is not restricted by NoSQL structure, basically. And what it means is we can probably use the existing database in which the case management system for the commission resides currently. But that system requires you to type in data. In other words, it's not archival. You can't say, since 2010, has this ethics question ever come up? And you type in the question. And then it says, yes, in 2019, so-and-so asked this question, and here's the informal opinion. Now, that would give you a lot of power in terms of saving staff time, but being accurate also. And you don't have to research the whole thing and spend your weekends and nights looking for that one document you know is in there, but where is it? So that would be the ideal outcome of this project, is the city IT people are, agreeable to do this. We can import all the archival and other data that were highlighted in the report that I did, based on what the staff thought was important. And then all of that would become instantly searchable. And also because we do other things, not just ethics, you can get all these reports searched immediately. And if the commissioners are allowed access, they can also do that, if they have free weekend or night. So that would be my recommendation is I get authorization with staff to contact city IT to see if we take the next step with them, or they tell us to go away, and then we have to do it on our own. So, you never know with IT what they're going to tell you.
It's good, a wonderful idea. I just wanted to indicate that the person I spoke to at 3M said we can start coalescing and actually it would expedite our review of the lobbyist findings. It would expedite our review of the financial history rather than having it take more than a month. They could do it automatically. If there's any discrepancy, we can go back to track what had been filed previously. That's how it is, rather than doing this manually, it can be done automatically. That's one thing that the 3M Glassbox can achieve. But I think it's interesting to know, I just want to make a comment that we don't have any data pre-2010. And the reason for that, I think, is because our retired EDLC Gianni began in 2010. However, that being said, I have a relative who did research prior decisions by the ethics. And that relative did that through a Google search, and it pulled up all of Chuck Tottle's opinions from 2004, although it's probably outdated, 2010. So it's out there through Google, but it's just not in our system. I don't know.
So, Chair, what
Yes.
we do have is we have all the administrative directives up online, and it's just not in La Lima. We have all our old case files that we're required to keep by statute. We just don't have them on La Lima. La Lima started relatively recently, but it's all on the E-Drive, I believe. Some of it is on paper, the old stuff. And maybe Lori can shed a little light on that. This is Lori, this is our ALC. Lori, she recently
Lori Wong resents
this now. Yes. Sorry about that, Lori.
Okay. So, we actually do have more file documents going back as early as 2003. and those are in yet another database called DocuShare. So that's how they were filed previously, and then when I started in 2010, we started moving things to the iDrive, which is now called the eDrive. So it was continued then, and then La Lima was started in 2023. So
We actually have
we
data,
actually do have data.
and we do publish all the advisory opinions online. And so we do either have it on paper or in data and in different databases.
So it'd just be a matter of pulling everything together into one place.
Yeah, which is
No,
not
I know.
easy. It's like the ADA, it's just, yeah. it's-
Oh, just snap at the fingers.
So the interesting history of the Ethics Commission when I was doing this report, it was established in 1967. So theoretically, it should have a memory back to 1967. But there's a kind of a gap right there. So we don't know. Two other things I was going to add in. So the Montana system is currently in test mode to allow the commissioner press a button and generate the annual report automatically based on all the data in the system. And it's also in test mode to generate the budget. The annual budget can be generated by pressing another button. Boom.
Wow.
I mean, somebody has to authenticate it and curate it. But it saves having to write the thing initially. So those are both in test mode, I was told. So that shows you the power of the system once it's set up with the right data set for artificial intelligence.
So your recommendation is to have you continue on with your interaction
Right.
with the IT,
Yeah, and then if we hit a dead end, I'll report that too.
and then with the city and county, and
Yes.
see if they can explain or help you with respect to whether La Lima can be modified.
La Lima was intended to be a case management system. We're talking about more of a records management system. Which is a very different kind of system. And they'll have to tell us when we talk to them how feasible that is. And, you know, the fork in the road is it easier to just set up a relational database and then ingest all the data from the beginning? Or to modify the existing IT database and ingest new data into it? And that's the answer I don't know, because they know the specs.
I wanted to find out whether any commissioners have any suggestions or opposition to Commissioner Fukunaga continuing on with his research on this issue.
No, I think going on, I did have a question as to whether there's any groundwork with talking to anybody. And I have no idea what that would be to get a positive response from the IT department. And positive would be, yes, we could do that, and yes, we could do it within the next X days or weeks, rather than months or years.
Yeah, so not to be negative, but what I learned when I graduated from graduate school, you know, in law school, it was easier for me to get one of the systems programmers at the State Department of Health here to write the database for me in assembler than try to talk to the IT people while using the state database. And the guy did it in like 2 weeks. He was very good at assembly language.
Okay.
So, yeah, and that's what I've learned over the years is IT tends to be very protective, but we won't know until we try. I mean, it could be very different. There are a lot of younger people now in IT. Back then, you know, it's all the people in the Kaladi Moko did.
They just laid 4,000 off at Silicon Valley.
Commissioner Monk had a question.
I do actually, yeah. So I just wanted to make sure
Yeah.
sorry,
Oh, no, go ahead.
want to make sure I understand clearly what you're saying about the different types of database of what we have in La Lima versus what we're discussing as a more powerful and broad-reaching database. Is the question whether the two could actually be combined, or is one question, not the only question, whether the two could actually be combined into a single system which would function for both purposes? Is that one of the questions? Or is there no chance that they could be combined into a single system, which would have
Well, we-
separate access for one purpose versus one?
So that, with enough time and money, you can do a lot of things. But the database structure are different. And it's not an easy task to merge or what's called join the databases. I think, and IT can tell us this, but from what I can understand about these structures, they cannot be joined together easily. And it would be better to go with one of the, the best option would be use the existing structure because it's working. But it was designed as a case management system, not as a records management system.
So ultimately, we would then presumably have La Lima as a case management system and a completely separate relational database system that would be accessible for research purposes or historical purposes.
Okay, so technically, yeah. The database sits here. It's like a huge filing cabinet, big thing. And then on the front end is what's called the application programming interface or API. That's what you see when you log into La Lima. That's the web-based program. You don't see this thing back here. So this thing back here has all the data in it, like whatever, thousands or millions or billions of documents. So what you see on the front end would have to be changed.
Okay.
Because as you guys know from using La Lima, it's a case management system where you input case numbers and case information. It's not an archival research system where you would say in the last 30 years, have we ever had a case like this? You cannot ask that question currently.
So I guess my question is going to whether we actually need to have the data in two completely separate systems, the same data accessed by different interfaces, or whether the same data could be accessed separately by two different interfaces.
Yeah, it'd be better to have it in the same database
That's what I'm thinking.
at the beginning.
Commissioner Rice has a question.
Yes, I have had my hand up for some time.
Thank you.
I just want to say that I have had 2 executive briefings with the mayor and the entire IT department about governance and structure for the entire city and every agency. And if at some point you would like me to share that information, I would be happy to, although it would not be appropriate for right now.
Great, maybe Ms.
Know that the city is well aware of the challenges facing every agency, every commission, every department. And the goal is to move from silos to a uniform ability to govern AI and use it effectively to save the city money and be more effective.
Thank you. I think it'd be appropriate if Ken were to contact you to discuss this.
Yes, I don't know that Ken is aware of my AI expertise, but yes, I'd be happy to share that information.
Great. That'd be nice.
So you don't have to tell me this now, but the major question I had was, what is the overall architecture of the city IT system? And obviously you can't answer that now, so that would be the way I would start. Is I answer.
That's a very good question. That's a very legitimate question. And I think what they are finding is that they have been, well, let me not.
Yeah, you don't have to say now.
They want to be more effective and responsive. And they are aware that they can't wait much longer.
Because that was one of the questions Amara gave to the city was, what is the architecture of La Lima? And what I got back was not an architect. It was, kind of like the 6-year-old drawing your house.
Yeah, it's best to have that conversation.
Yeah, and then I asked for all the data types. And they didn't answer that question.
It's best to have that conversation with Stephen Courtney
Okay.
at the city. Yes.
Hey, thank you. I think the impression I gather, I think people like Commissioner Fukunaga and perhaps with the assistance of Commissioner Rice to further investigate the matter of IT and whether or not they could be compatible with our systems. Does anybody object? Otherwise,
No.
I'll let him continue. I don't think we need.
No,
to vote on
that's it.
Okay,
I mean, there are a lot more technical details you want to hear them though, I'm sure.
thank you. No, I think your report was fantastic. Really outlined everything. Gave us some direction. With that in mind, let's go over to the next agenda item, which is the acting executive director and legal counsel's report. And I wanted to, first of all, before she starts, I wanted to thank Myra Sang for doing the work as the acting for several months. And until we could select a new EDLC, she's done just a tremendous job. And she has received high praise from all commissioners for her job that she's done. This will probably be her last report unless for any reason Sandy Bach can't make any further meetings, but I wanted to personally thank her for doing that. And once the new EDLC begins on July 1st, Myra will step back into her role as the assistant. But for now, she will provide us a report of the status. Thank you. Thank you very much. Myra, go ahead.
Thank you, Chair, for the kind words. It's been a privilege. So with respect to the report, we have our work report summary attached as we do every month. The next agenda item is American Disability, the ADA, American Disabilities Act. There's a website compliance deadline that was April 24th, 2026. And within the week of the deadline coming up, the feds pushed the date back by about a year.
Oh, God.
So our plan is, we're so close to finishing that the staff is going to continue with its work and get compliant. We're going to check in at the end of the year and see how we are, and we'll have till April 26, 2027 to complete compliance. And I just want to say the staff has done a lot of work to meet ADA compliance for our website. It's Jen Hooper, Leland Reebok, and Kristen Awoyagi. Next, we have recruitment. Our vacancies are administrative specialist, supervisory investigator, and the legal clerk. I am still in the process of moving along the HR paperwork to fill in the administrative specialist and the legal clerk positions as soon as possible. In the meantime, Jen Hooper is doing double duty to the work of 2 legal clerks. And I'm filling in the AS position with the help of a lot of other people.
Before you go on, I think what we're focusing more on is filling in the administrative specialist and the legal clerk. Those are the 2 positions that we now are trying to obtain budget for and to get approval of fiscal so that we can start hiring. That may take until July to hire those 2 positions. With respect to the investigator, the chief investigator, it was my thought that instead of hiring an investigator, we should further look into the possibility of perhaps taking that role and hiring an attorney rather than an investigator. I think different people have had different experiences with investigators. My opinion or my interaction was with the Office of the Disciplinary Counsel, which had investigators for a long time until they decided to change that into contract attorneys and to make that more efficient with respect to the resources. And now there are no investigators at ODC. There are just attorneys, which is very efficient. So we've decided to hold off on that until we can figure out whether we need to hire an attorney or whether we need to hire an investigator. We do have one investigator who will continue in her role. With respect to Jen Huber, I had signed a recommendation that she be advanced to a paralegal two position, which would be a higher wage, because she's doing a tremendous job, and looking forward to having her as a para two. We're going to hopefully fill the paralegal one position shortly, but that requires more budgetary concerns. So that's basically the status of our situation and our hiring. We're hoping to get everybody on board, so we can get all 11 people that we hope to. And, consistent with that, I think, I wish to let you know that we are looking into acquiring more space. And we've been contacting a lot of people with respect to the acquisition of hopefully between 2,000 and 2,500 square feet. And so there may be places out there, but we have to really meet with the managing director. I've come to a head. I find that agencies, even though they have space, they don't like to give it up. I find that to be pretty true. Once you got something, they're not going to give it up for another one unless they're kind of, nudged toward. So I think the next step would be for the vice chair who was helming that committee and anti-EDLC or the current EDLC to go into areas that may be opened by what we believe to be the consolidation of the DCS, which is community support. They're consolidating to one building, and hopefully that'll leave some vacancies. But we're looking into whether or not, openings, and hopefully we're looking into whether or not with their consolidation, open up some space throughout the city. Thank you. Go ahead.
Okay, so yes, chair and vice chair have been helping immensely, and been working really hard on getting, trying to get new office space. And, chair and vice chair, have been working hard through the budget, and, we've gotten a lot of help from Shamara, from the mayor's office, in terms of this HR stuff. The paperwork is, pretty immense, so we're still working through that as fast as we can. In terms of the budget, we have, the city council has come up with its, third draft. In there remains intact for our request for, restitution of vacancy cutbacks. So we have the full, we have the amount we need for, last year's salaries and such. Again, I know the commission already knows this, but vice chair and chair worked really hard with me to, meet with all the city council members. I've been working with administration to get that through. And now we'll see, I think there's a meeting. I think there's a meeting. Is it today, right after this?
I think it's next week,
Next week,
Wednesday,
Wednesday.
a budget meeting.
Yeah, so, again, so we'll see what happens, and, there is a chance mayor can veto, so we'll just have to wait on that. And that might throw a little kink, into our HR, efforts, but, we'll see. We're trying to push it, through the paperwork as we can, in anticipation of getting the budget.
I think he's announced that he's going to line veto one particular issue. Economic revitalization.
Yeah.
And not the whole budget, because he can line veto. I hope that's not a problem with us, our situation. And I was hoping that we get our annual report out, but, dealing with the DNP, the printing, that's been a challenge where you give him modifications and he send it back with modifications, and then you send it back to them with modifications. It's, that kind of challenges that the agency has had. So hopefully we'll get it like this time and we can get it printed out. I was hoping to get it printed and sent to all of the council members. It does not been promised at this stage, but we'll get it out as soon as possible. And hopefully we'll get it.
And sorry.
Go ahead.
And I just want to mention that your chair and vice chair have been working really hard on the annual report. I've worked on it. Kirsten is helping push through the paperwork for TNP and reviewed it with us, but it's been a lot of work. They've been working hard on many, many, many things, and The annual report is just one of them. So hopefully we'll get that out to you very soon. As soon as we can get, work with DMP further and get a final draft. The next slide, Leland, when you have a moment.
It's actually,
Okay, we are in financial disclosure filing. As you will see, the council members, mayor and cabinet, we've gotten 62 out of 62 financial disclosures. That is fantastic. I want to go finish through the numbers before I tell you who's responsible for all this lovely work. We also have confidential, we have employee disclosures, 395 out of 396. We're one away. Board commissioners, 176 out of 182. That's only 6 off. And so a total of 571 out of 578 outstanding. This is a lot of work on the part of Jen Hubert, mostly. And then our ALCs have are working with Jen on that as well. So that's Lori Wong, and I forget the new name again, that's what I presented, and Rainy Nakamura Watanabe. Thank you all for that. That's just wonderful work. Next slide. We have lobbyist filings. Again, same people are responsible for this. Lobbyist filings, we have 177 out of 179 due. So we're just 2 away. And deadline was in January. We are in June, but we're almost at 100%, which is really good. We don't want to have to go into any enforcement actions, but we've sent out reminder letters and we might have to do that sometime soon. We have 106 published registrations from lobbyists. Next slide, Leland.
it's actually Jen controlling your computer.
Oh, thank you, Jen. Sorry about that. I'm like waiting for you.
I know.
Right, I don't want to rush you.
I'm also writing, so.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Requests for advice. In April, we closed more than we received because there's some left over from last month. In the month of May, we closed one that less received, it depends on the day, the month ends and things of that nature. So we're basically keeping up with the RFAs that we receive and the requests for advice as we always do. So a good work on the attorneys or the associate legal counsels for that. Jen, next slide. The concern forms. In April, there were 8 open pre-screens, 20 ongoing investigations, many of which arise from the same concern form, same nucleus of operative facts, but it might be different subjects, subjects of the investigation. It might be different claims against different subjects or the same subject. We separate them into different case numbers as you would any enforcement action. Closed concerns, we can close 19. The ALCs have been working so hard to close these cases. As I informed you previously, we are doing a new case analysis method, and the ALCs are also going through all the old cases, re-employing this. And so we've been able to close 19 concern forms in April. In May, we had 9 open pre-screens. So that's only 1 more than last month. So we got a new concern form. We had 20 ongoing investigations, but as you know, we have some upcoming adjudications for the commission, multiple that are actually stacked up. But we know the commission's been very busy, so we haven't been able to schedule them. And we closed 2 concerns. Next slide, Jeff. Thank you. Outreach and education. I'm going to turn it over to our training specialist, Kirsten Amliak.
Good afternoon, Commission. So to start off, the ethics training program, no report for the all city employee mandatory training. For the board and commission training, that training was released May 18th. You should have received an email from me. The training is due September 30th, but that's just to encourage full completion, but you do have until December 31st. So just a reminder, please do your training. If you have any login issues, feel free to contact me.
And we will start reporting statistics for both groups at the next meeting. Slide 14, we had our first pop-up event of the year at Honolulu Hale on May 13th. About 13 people stopped by, so not a lot, but it was a nice flow of people that stopped by. And these are always a great experience, not only for the staff, but for the rest of the city and the public to be able to talk to us and play our awesome game and win some cool prizes. Slide 15, we released 2 newsletters. The first one was in May that talks about second job and post-city work. And then the second newsletter in June was a fun little detective case study about conflicts of interest. Both are in your meeting materials. Feel free to read them. We got a lot of great comments about both of them, so I think a lot of people really enjoyed these 2. And that is all. Thank you.
Chair.
Yes.
So on training, I had one comment on, when I talked to the vendor in Montana, I asked him, we have outreach training we do. Would he program an AI-based avatar to provide training on a one-to-one basis? So we could have you as an avatar giving this seminar, basically one-to-one, people log in. And the AI program would be look up questions you ask, about what is the ethics rule on this issue? The avatar would answer. He said he can do that. It would be a brand new implementation for him. But that's the kind of thing you can do with AI. You're not constrained to have a human in the loop. I mean, humans are good, but if you want to train thousands of people. So that's one thing I did look into also outreach training.
Thank you. Probably even seminars.
Well, they would give one-to-one seminars, basically.
Commissioner Fukunaga, I think that's a great idea, if they could the avatar could pull information out from our brochures and give that information out, different snippets or know where to find it without having to search the whole, website and locate it. It's really difficult. But in the same token, I would like, our training specialists to continue to consult with our attorneys when we actually provide legal advice and for them to use the attorney of the day function, so because this is essentially legal advice on ethics laws, right? So we want to make sure that's correct. I think it's a good pairing.
So when you talk about, there is a first of a kind lawsuit filed by a Japanese bank against ChatGPT. Because ChatGPT gives legal advice. When you ask it, what should I do? Can I file a suit? It'll answer you. So the Japanese insurance company, this is unfolding in Chicago. ChatGPT, they claim, is practicing law without a license. And so they want OpenAI to be sanctioned for practicing law without a license. So when you say legal advice, that's where things are headed right now in terms of AI giving legal advice.
I just have a question. Do you know if the State Ethics Commission is incorporating?
Me? No, I don't.
That might be one of the issues, contact them to see what they're doing on the AI issue.
So another question I asked the vendor in Montana when we talked about the State Ethics Commission is, can you write what's called an application programming interface or API that connects the 2 commission databases? And that database can be shared. You put it in a local session in our ethics website access. Ask what has the state concluded on this ethics issue? And then it would bring it back from outside. So he said the Montana system currently allows you to go out to the internet on a secure link. And what comes back is filtered. So you don't get scammers coming in. And that becomes part of the research you can do. So you're not limited to what Montana's database has. So you can go to Westlaw, for example, in a session, in the local session you're having with the AI program, and open a Westlaw session through a link, basically, the API's link. And then do your research, import the research back, and then paste it into whatever you're doing without having to leave the phone. So he said that's what they currently are able to do. So once you start looking into this, it's like, wow.
Takes up real life.
Thank you. Any
Okay,
other comments? Is there anything else? Are you?
yes, legislation.
Yep.
We had a couple Honolulu Charter Commission meetings. And, I wanted to, let you know that, Brittany, who's worked really hard on her testimony and kept track of all the meetings and such, is not able to be here today because she's on a well-deserved vacation. But she reports that between April and now, what has happened is, the Charter Commission has, voted to not advance any of the proposals related to ethics, specifically proposals number 109, 110, and 229.
Well, that's specifically related to the ability of an agency or the city to fundraise for a
Yes.
specific project.
Yes. Yes,
And so there are no remaining proposals alive that affect the status or responsibilities of the Ethics Commission.
that's correct. However, we, ALC, Nakamura Watanabe reports that, she has seen in the Charter Commission meetings where commissioners would try to raise an issue up again, even after, they voted to not proceed, but, so we'll keep monitoring.
Something like our state legislature.
Or the Elections Commission.
I have nothing further, Chair.
Thank you very much. Does anybody have anything further? Before I entertain a motion to adjourn. I would like to entertain a motion to adjourn at this time.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes. Second. Been moved by Commissioner Lynch, and seconded by Commissioner Fukunaga to adjourn the session. And to remind all that we do not have a session until August. And the reason for that is I thought it'd be nice to get a little break in between and give the new EDLC an opportunity to acquaint herself with staff. Because she will probably be doing the reporting henceforth. So the next meeting will be in August.
So
August 19th.
August
August 19th.
It's the third Wednesday.
Through Wednesday.
With that explanation,
Just looking for my
all
calendar.
in favor of adjourning session today into August 19th?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Thaddeus, aye. She said yes. So unanimous to
Aye.
adjourn.